This video is based on the Cambridge IGCSE Business Studies Paper 1, and it's on the topic of operations. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at what the question is asking and look at IDF. So if we look at the command word, which is for instruction, we've got identify, and we've got explain. So with an explanation, we need some reasoning and we need development as well. If we look at direction, it's directing us to this business, this specific business. In other words, it cannot be about any other business. It has to be about the business within the question. It has to be about the situation which is above in the case study. And the focus is just in time. So we need to make sure it relates to the stock control method of just in time. And obviously it's asking us to identify and explain two advantages. So that would also be under instruction. Now, as it's about this business, we have to really absorb what the case study is telling us and see if there's any clues to help us with application. So having the knowledge of just in time, which you should all have, especially after your revision, I've picked out some key clues within the case study. First of all, the business makes a range of soft drinks. We need to consider about the product itself. One of the major advantages of just in time is it reduces waste. Now, with regards to certain products, that's really it's really key, because those types of products maybe go obsolete quite fast and they expire, such as soft drinks. Now, soft drinks, if they're in storage for quite a while, they may lose their flavour and they may not be able to be sold on the market. So that's key application straight away. I've also noticed that they're a small factory, however they're looking to expand. So another major advantage of just in time is that it reduces storage costs, which would be beneficial for a small factory, especially when they're trying to grow. Another factor would be it's a good idea to change to flow production. Now, this is a common mistake made by students, that students believe that you cannot use flow production and just in time, which is completely wrong. You can do, many big companies do. If you think about Toyota, they carry out a just in time lean production, but they also have flow production, which is continuous. Now, the reason why I've outlined it as a possible advantage is because this might, because they're not storing any goods, it might open space to bring in the machinery to help with flow production. So that's another possible advantage. Now, there's three main points that I've acknowledged, but it asks you to identify and explain two. Go for the ones that you believe you can argue the best, the ones that you can develop, the ones with greater reasoning. So my first identified point is just in time can help reduce waste. Now, many students will jump straight onto the development there and start to say why that's brilliant for the company, it helped them to reduce costs. But what you need to do initially is actually explain why it would help to reduce waste. Remember, you do your point, your reason as to why, your development, and make sure that application is consistent throughout. So now I've introduced my reasoning. So the reason why it reduces waste is because components for the product only arrive when an order has been made, therefore ensuring that the business knows that it will sell. So now I've given my reason, I have to explain why this is good for the business in question, and this is where I have to guarantee that I've included application. So now I've considered development. As Rafiq sells soft drinks, which can expire quickly and become obsolete, if these goods were to be stored without this guarantee and demand ended up being low, these drinks would end up being waste, costing the business. This can be problematic, especially as they're only a small factory. So my application is that they sell soft drinks, and I've demonstrated an understanding of the type of product they sell in terms of expiring quickly and becoming obsolete. You could even say more application in terms of losing its flavour and therefore being unsellable. If these goods were to be stored without this guarantee, and then I've also said only a small factory, so adding a little bit more application, because this waste would be even worse for them because they haven't got the finance to really back it up. So that's my first advantage. Now I have to consider my second advantage. So my second advantage would be it would help to reduce costs for Rafiq. So now what I have to do is give a reason as to why it would reduce costs and then develop it further. So now I've provided my reasoning. This is because no storage would be needed, as stock would only arrive when needed for production. So therefore, it would reduce storage costs. So then my development, this would be beneficial for Rafiq as he plans to expand. Therefore, by reducing his expenses, it may help improve profit margins and therefore have an increased opportunity for retained profit to help grow the business. The application is he plans to expand. That's the key factor, okay? Because it just shows that you understand the situation of his situation, and that offers the application. Now, just to give you some generic understanding of just in time, it's based on a pull system of production. Customer orders determine what is produced. So when a customer order comes in, then the business will order the components needed to produce the good. It requires complex production scheduling, achieving using specialist software to connect production with suppliers. And what I would recommend is go on YouTube and search for Toyota and their stock control, and they use just in time, and it's a really good demonstration of how it works in real life. Supply is delivered to production only when needed, so therefore you do require a very, very good relationship with your suppliers, and sometimes you are dependent on them. So that good relationship is needed. In terms of the advantages and disadvantages of just in time, we've got them here. So the advantages: lower stock holding means a reduction in storage space, which saves rent and insurance costs. Stock is only obtained when it's needed, less working capital is tied up, less likelihood of stock perishing, which obviously directly relates to the drinks. Less time spent on checking and reworking production, as the emphasis on getting work right first time. There's little room for mistakes, as minimal stock is kept for reworking faulty products. That's a disadvantage. So if there are any issues with production, then it's going to cause a delay, because then you have to wait for more stock to arrive. Production is highly reliant on suppliers, as I've already mentioned. If they are late for whatever reason, then it's going to cause a lateness for you, and therefore, even more important, it's going to cause delays for your customer, and that's going to reduce customer satisfaction. And there's no spare finished products available to meet unexpected orders. So if there was a massive fluctuation in demand, and all of a sudden there's a peak in demand, you might not have the stock to fill the order, because there will be some waiting time. And also a need for complex specialist stock systems.